Greetings and welcome to the Energy of Leo. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. I do thank you for joining this this forecast. Essentially, it's an astrological forecast for the month of April 2023. This particular screenshot and the configurations that where you see the aspects here are actually from the 6th of April 2023. So we are looking a bit into the future. Thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate your constant support of the channel. If you're new, welcome. So we'll go ahead and get started with a particular reading here that actually accentuates a full moon that is bringing forward your third house, meaning that there's something about relationships that are most immediate in your environment, as well as lesser forms of education, formative education as well, graduate education primarily, siblings, things that have to do with essentially mastery or learning in some sort of way, is being activated essentially in the house of your of the third, and it's in the energy of Libra. So it's a full moon in Libra, and with every moon, the opposite of that in terms of the ninth house, the sun comes and opposes it. Sun is currently in the energy of Aries, about 16 degrees, and it is conjunct the energy of Jupiter. When this occurs, there is a combust energy that actually provides lesser benefits from Jupiter's wisdom, okay? And Jupiter is the great teacher, and because it's in your ninth house, there's something about this that will actually provide quite a bit of ego and dogmatism in the people that you encounter in terms of relationships with friends, or your most immediate relationships in terms of family, or something about children as well. Often with this kind of configuration, there is a tendency to try to find balance in terms of conflict that is based on philosophical debate, on existential crisis, as well as the possibility of these authority figures that may be oppressive in nature, or at least they don't share in terms of conflict and resolution. They're more on the conflict side of things. Your job here is essentially to create a sense of peace, some sort of safe space in terms of this, and actually learn from these people in a way that is more indirect than direct. They're here to actually provide a sense of inspiration for you on the path of knowledge and the path of dharma, the path of self-realization. And I think that can be a very positive thing in terms of how you voice your opinions in an emotionally balanced way, and especially in a way that is emotionally intelligent, okay? So that's the full moon energy. There also is a possibility here of the stellium in Taurus activating something in terms of your desires. Excuse me, primarily to clear out desires that have to do with the accumulation of karmas that have to do with your work, essentially. There's a way of you producing the effect of stamina and constancy and sort of repetition, and perhaps even pleasure in your work. You might find pleasure in the way you do things there, and there's a lot that has to do, in this month at least, with gifts that are coming from your path. And your path is primarily one of a mystical one, in which you are dealing with karmas of the home or the inner world, a past that comes through transformation of that sense of home, of the sense of the inner self, and is leading you to a path of liberation in which your actions are not going to be understood by everyone. There is a sense that what is occurring is a clear structure of hidden knowledge that is actually being produced within your own private space, your own sanctuary, okay, especially when it comes to being indoors or perhaps even being abroad. The sense of isolation that you can find in that kind of space, or traveling through space, there's a possibility of a lot of realizations in terms of how you can find liberation, okay, how you can find yourself. At the same time, what is being defined here, at least when it comes to Venus's placement, there's something about um, what you're doing in terms of your work, wherein you become a more valuable asset during this time period, in terms of what you're truly here to do, which is actually to create beauty. And you do this on a very naturalistic way, in a naturalistic plane. And the beauty of it is that you will be gifted in terms of the elation of karma, the sort of movement, slow movement, steady movement towards working towards something you truly believe in, something that you can value, something that you think about, something that you actually desire. And this will actually gift you into the path of liberation. Somehow, I'm not really sure, because at the same time, possessions by their very nature are transient. They actually slip through your fingers the more you try to hold them. And the interesting thing is that that's one of your lessons, that's one of your karmas here, is actually to produce the effect of creating systems that are your own, that's very deeply entrenched in what you can truly value in terms of how you deal with your outer world. And I think it's a very beautiful thing. Now, one thing to note is that there is a type of transformation that will have a double effect. With the North Node in Taurus conjunct Mercury, um, you will be sort of a conduit for karmic intervention, okay? And this type of intervention is very much deeply tied to the mystical path, to the spiritual path. So you have to let it happen. At the same time, some of the transformations that are going on in terms of your relationships, especially work relationships, will be happening in such a way that it might actually cause a disturbing element in terms of your own privacy, or perhaps your own external ambitions, okay? And these ambitions are actually here to spin the wheel and bring forward a sense of purity in terms of the elation, once again, of karma, and the elation of that you find in terms of your workplace. So the actions that you place in your workplace will actually oppose your sense of inner transformation that you may be deeply trying to find, or trying to deeply resonate with in your path. It's a very interwoven time period in which there are double effects that you can look in the inner world and the outer world, and how they may be harmoniously congruous or incongruous. They could be inverse in such a way that it might repel you into a mode of transformation, and it might force you into a way to reassess how your independence is being challenged in terms of transformation of your friends, okay, and of other people, significant soulmates, or something that happens there, wherein the idea of work, or the idea of ritual, the idea of your everyday is being converted into newness as you approach some form of relationship with others, in terms of their friendliness, or in terms of their faux-liness, in terms of them being real or artificial in nature, in terms of that connection, or those connections in general. The idea here is to embrace some of the more interesting lessons that are coming through the full moon's energy, and essentially there's something about your own privacy that is going to be activating a very mystical path for you this month. I do wish you well. Thank you. Bye bye.